So we're talking about the Halloween Gambit that appears after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, and believe it or not, knight e5. So how did the Halloween Gambit got its name? According to a German guy who named it, many players are shocked the way they would be frightened by the Halloween mask when they are mentally prepared for a boring 4 knights, and they're all of a sudden faced with this crazy knight e5 move. So what are you actually trying to do here? White attempts to exchange a knight for a central pawn, a lead in development and space. But is that enough? I'm not sure that you're gonna get a clear answer after this lecture, but for sure you're gonna like this video and you're gonna try out this in the future. Once again, this is not for serious chess. This is just for fun, and this is just for mainly for bullet and sometimes blitz chess against lower rated guys. So let's get started. Just one more thing, judging by my own experience and even in blitz and bullet, I actually perform pretty good with white pieces. So after knight takes e5, they of course are going to accept this knight sack. One guy tried against me in bullet knight takes e4 doing like a counter Halloween Gambit, but here I found with a student of mine, Craig Ellison, queen h5 novelty. This is the strongest engine move. We threaten mate on f7, and in case they just go with a classic queen e7, you take on f7 with check, you take on f7 threatening rook, and when they take by king, you just give this bishop c4 check, including an important intermediary move, after that capturing on e4 and getting like a great game. In case of queen h5, like counter Halloween, if they play like knight d6, we just go with this very nice knight b5 move. They can't take, of course, because of checkmate on f7. And in case they play anything else, like queen e7 or whatever, you just go knight c7, knight a8, and you're just so much better. Computer gives some forcing line. I'm just going to briefly show you g6, queen e2, knight d4. Don't panic, you have knight f7. You're happy to exchange pieces. You're happy, at the moment you're up rook. When they take the knight, you have queen e5 threatening both of these pieces. They go after one rook. You actually take the second one, and you're just so much better. And let's actually continue with the main lines. So after knight e5, they just have to take on e5, of course. And after knight takes e5, you play d4. Just like I previously said, you just sack a knight for the central pawn. You just want some sort of leading development, and you want some space. Is that enough here? Definitely not, but it gives you some interesting attacking and tactical resources in most of these lines. Black practically has only 2 moves. They can play knight c6 and knight g6. In my opinion, best is knight g6. But in case they play knight c6, we're confronted with a couple of continuations. After d5, they can play knight e5, bringing the knight back into the center, which is considered to be fine for white. And bishop b4, according to one Polish IM, this move was found and was considered to be the refutation of this Halloween Gambit. I'm not quite sure that this is like the refutation, because after you take the knight, they take on e4, you just play queen d4, attacking both of these pieces. They have to go queen e7, and you play bishop e3. According to my analysis, after knight c3, b takes bishop d6, you take here and play rook b1. You're not even down a pawn. Yes, okay, we're slightly worse in terms of the pawn structure, but we also have like a little bit better development of pieces. I'm of opinion that this position is around equal. If someone can have like some advantage, that certainly should be But well, I'm not even sure who should be better in this type of game, but definitely it's not like the classical refutation. Basically, white is not even close to be even much worse, not to mention being lost. After knight c6, so after you sack this knight on e5, knight a5, d4, knight c6, d5, people like to play knight b8, like I'm up a piece, everything is just fine, and you just push your pawn on e5. In case they play knight g8, this is a little bit comic position because you're down a piece, both of your pawns on like 5th rank, you have developed knight, and it's your turn. You play the killing move d6. It's a killer move because it kills this bishop on f8, and at the same time threatens both knight d5 and knight b5. So when they play like knight c6, I won like 2 or 3 games against weaker guys with knight b5. After they take, you take, and they can't stop, literally they can't stop knight c7 with winning position for white. In case of, for example, e5 and queen e7 here, don't panic. You just play queen e2, and when they play knight g8, bishop f4. I claim that white has a beautiful tactical resources here and really great attacking chances, especially because of misplaced queen, inability by black to complete his development, and definitely, and probably the biggest weakness, exposed king on e8. And in case they go with knight c6, d5, knight e5, which is considered to be the only move here, apart from bishop e4, we just go with f4, knight g6, and we go with e5. I'd like to stop here and to ask you, wouldn't you be happy to play a game like this even though you're down a piece? After knight g8, once again this killer move d6. After c takes, e takes, you threaten knight b5, knight c7, knight on g6 is kind of weak. And look at the pieces on the back rank. All these pieces are just covering the back rank, and definitely we just have a nice compensation. I played a game here, also in Bullet. Guy played the best move, queen f6, threatens to take on d6, threatens to take on f4, develops this queen, and then after queen e2, king d8, knight e4, defending the pawn on d6 and pawn on f4, h4, and bishop d2. Even though engine prefers black's position, I think that white has a pretty sound type of compensation here. Knight g5 is threat. Even though you're down a piece, you can feel free to exchange the queens and afterwards go after the f7 pawn. King is weak and you have long castles, bishop a5, and lots of things like this. All things considered, absolutely the best reaction by black should be knight g6. Then you go with e5, and then they have to put the knight back on g8. This is a little bit debatable. I'm not sure that people will massively go with this knight g8 move unless they know the refutation, or they really feel that they have to bring some material back in order to get some sort of salvation. In case of queen e7, which reminds me of some variations of the Scotch defense, you play bishop e2, knight g8, and I was analyzing here with Craig some h4 lines, but I believe that the simplest variation is just castles with f4 and f5, and once again, thanks to great development, thanks to great pawn formation in the center, white seems to be easily better. And you don't even have to be Magnus Carlsen, just play knight e5, f4, f5, open up all these lines and diagonals in the center, and you should be better. Finally, in case of e5, knight g8, you should be going with the bishop c4. Very normal game. You just threaten queen f3 and that's it. If you play queen f3, your game has to be better. By checking stats, I realized that the bishop b4 move could be the most common move you might face versus weaker players. And you should be playing queen f3, threatening mate in 1. And when they play queen e7, you just go with short castles. This position is nice. When they take on c3, you have two possibilities. To capture by queen and to open up once again front on the king side with f4 and f5, chasing away this knight and fighting against the exposed queen and the king, playing with the bishop here and the strong movable pawns in the center. But you can also take b takes c3, where I found more than 15 games online where people played like this, going with either a4 and bishop a3, or g3 h4, limiting this knight so it can go and chase away our queen, but at the same time limiting and chasing away the knight after h5 and going like this. So basically, after bishop c4, they just have to go with, they can go with c6. They don't have to go with d5. They can go with c6. You play queen f3. They go f6. You go short castles. And once again, you have a beautiful compensation. I'll show you a game played by some guy Browse against some Joan Doe guy on ICC, played back to 1997. After d5, this guy captured, bishop d6, played knight e4, and black, I guess, was very happy when he played knight a8 to e7, completing his development. Let's go, guys. I give you like 10 seconds to find tactics here for white. Start now. Queen takes f6. What a beautiful queen sack that immediately wins the game for white. After g takes f6, knight f6, king f8, da-da-da-da, checkmate. What a nice mating net. I really enjoyed this game a lot, and I very much like this mating net with minor pieces. And after all these variations, we just can conclude that after knight g6, e5, they have to play knight g8, and after bishop c4, believe it or not, they have to play d5. Here, I just have to stop and to tell you that psychologically, when you play this opening against weaker guys, in like 90, percent of cases, nobody will go with this move. That's why I told you, I guess the most common reaction should be bishop b4. Only good players will play d5, and I have good news for you. You're not lost here. You are worse, but it's still playable, and you have lots of chances to play this on compensation. Don't forget, you have two pawns for the piece, two central pawns, which at the same time could be good because you have central pawns, but on the other hand, it could be bad because both of these bishops are just working. And for all of you who just want to find a refutation against the Halloween Gambit, here it is. It's not a winning position for black, but it's very, very nice game for black because of activity of the black pieces. After knight e7, you should be playing bishop g5. And after queen d7, unpinning this queen because simply that's the way it is. They can't play f6, they can't move this knight, and the queen is just pinned. You just go with like queen d7. Some guys played c6, bishop e3, h6, bishop e3, knight f5. Good news for black players. This is better for black, but once again, not winning. There is like certain way of playing with white pieces, breaking in the center. For example, playing queen f3, rook a d1, rook f d1, and eventually breaking in the center with d5. Those who play queen d7 to unpin the queen, you play bishop e4, knight f5, queen d3, bishop e4, and playing long castles. Quite an interesting type of game. Even though you're down a piece, you have certain possibilities to punish these guys. After h6, bishop d2, castles, d5, getting like a full center, knight f to e7, and rook h to e1. I found a freestyle game between Win Power and Noritana played on Play Chess back to 2007. By the way, freestyle chess, where you can use the help of engines, of books, of GMs, IMs, all kinds of articles, so you can just do anything you like. Game ended up in a draw. And I pretty much like this concept where you just push all these pawns like crazy and try to attack your opponent. Well, after this small and a pretty short presentation, I'm not sure what your conclusion should look like, but I'm pretty sure you're going to like this lecture, you're going to like this original video, and I'm pretty sure you'll try to go with this variation and at least try your luck in this crazy Halloween gambit. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.